Hello there!
And welcome back to another video! This week I'm going to be doing something that I feel like a lot of you would have already seen done in a video if you watched Draw with Jazza, and I think a lot of you watched Draw with Jazza because of his shout out from a couple months ago, or a year ago, over a year ago. But I got these pencils given to me while I was in New York. I was in New York a couple of weeks ago for a conference for school, and I got these for free, and they reminded me a lot of the pencils that Jazza got for free for his son when they were at a restaurant and by Upfront Media, because I was at Ad Week. So I felt like it would be fun to try to draw something with just these pencils, and I'm not going to be doing like a coloring book type of thing like Jazza did, but I'm going to challenge myself with just this pack of 5 free pencils and a piece of printer paper, so that I'm going to be restricted by what I can do with this, just with the printer paper and these pencils. And if this doesn't come out nice, then well, that's a little sad. And if you can hear it, my voice, I'm a little bit hoarse, and it's just because there's a cold that's been going around the college and it hasn't really set in, but my voice is quite hoarse. So I've got my 6T right here to support me through this. So with that being said, I'm just going to start drawing, and hopefully you guys will enjoy the outcome. Wish me luck. Hello there, VoiceOver Candy right here, and I decided to do this portion of it in VoiceOver instead of using the audio phone when I was talking while drawing, because it was just too slow. I was talking with like a lot of space in between. My roommate was puttering about a kitchen, so there was some background noise and all that kind of stuff, and it's just, I felt like I could better explain everything going on with the clip kind of sped up and just talking over it like I do for a lot of my other videos. So my idea for this drawing was to do just a little girl hugging a little teddy, and as the process evolved, the teddy turned into a particular kind of bear, giving my colour situation. The colours I had access to was a pink, a red, a sky blue, a green and a black. The green I kind of used like very sparingly as like making a floor sort of thing, because I felt like if I did too prominent of a green with the amount of prominent red that I was doing, it was going to look too like Christmassy. Did I mention I had a yellow too? I had a yellow too, but the yellow is very, very faint. But yeah, these pencils, as you can imagine, they're free, so the lead is very hard. The pigment is very kind of diluted in whatever wax or filler sort of medium that they use, so like it's very hard for pigment to come out, but they do work fairly nice. Like if you squint, you can see a little color payoff. I didn't really have a good option for a skin tone, so I was relying on the pink for that. I also did my sketch lines in the pink because I felt like the pink would blend better with everything else. If I were to sketch with the black, I feel like it would have smudged other areas and it would have just like stood out too much, and then I wouldn't be able to kind of, you know, ignore the bits that I didn't want to show up as a sketch line, because I did later on in the video try erasing a little bit of the sketch lines that I didn't end up using, but the erasing didn't quite work out so well. So yeah, it was a better idea to sketch with a pink, and I ended up deciding to use the black for a lot of the shading, for the shorts in particular, a little bit for the shirt. The entire little teddy I decided to end up shading with black, and then I got inspired like not too long into the shading of the teddy to turn him into a panda, because I figured, oh well, I'm already doing a mainly black and white teddy bear, why not make him a panda? So I just pulled up, you know, panda on my computer on the side to just like get where they are actually coloured black. And yeah, just in general it was like a fairly sort of painless illustration. If I were to have done this with like my regular supplies, I definitely would have enjoyed erasing and sort of tweaking a little bit of the like tilt, because I feel like her face is kind of warped a little way, her limbs are a little bit awkward, and if I were to be drawing with something that I could erase, I would fix that. And then also I would have tried to make the contrast a bit more evident. Just in general, trying to make the darks darker, the lights lighter, and actually have a skin tone that's more than just like white and pink, because I feel like just in general, this, even though I'm like quite happy with how this illustration came out, I think it looks quite cute, I do feel like she fades into the white of the paper, like the background, quite a lot, just because there is a lot of the white of the paper fading into her skin, and that's just kind of something that you have to accept with using pencils that are this cheap. But yeah, it was fairly enjoyable. It really didn't take that long. One thing I will say is that I was using printer paper. Printer paper doesn't have much grip to it. It's fairly smooth. So I don't know if these pencils would work better or if they would work worse if I were to have used an actual like mixed media paper or like a sketchbook paper, because those tend to have more texture, and that's really good for when you're working with color pencils normally, because the more texture, the more wax can stick to it. So you can do more layers of color pencil before that they get to like smooth. So like if it's perfectly smooth, then the pencil won't stick. Like if you try to draw over top of plastic or glass with color pencil, it definitely won't stick. There's not enough friction. But we're about to jump back into real-time Candy voiceover, so I'm going to leave this over top audio thing right here, and yeah, I'll see you back in real time. But okay, this is basically what I can do in roughly 20 minutes with a pack of 3 pencils. Let's see if I can, with some Photoshop magic, make this look a little bit better real quick, right? Well, it's back to voiceover Candy. It looks like that real-time session went by real quick, didn't it? But yeah, I don't know why, I just felt the inclination to try to take a photo of the finished illustration and stick in Photoshop and see what I could do with it. I did plan to do a couple little like liquify things, which you see me doing right now, and that was mostly because I was limited in terms of erasing and drawing over with the original illustration, and I felt like there were just a couple of things that were a little wonky that were like very easy fixes with liquify. And then the other thing that I really wanted to fix was erasing some of the original sketch lines or the original things that I didn't plan for, and I used the clone stamp tool for that so I could maintain the texture of the paper. But I quickly found out that because I took a photo of it instead of like scanning it or something, that like the bottom corner of the paper was like cooler toned and darker than the upper corner of the paper, so just taking the stamp tool from anywhere didn't really work out, but I just managed to like tweak a little bit to make it work. And then after that I was kind of focusing again on transforming things so that they looked properly, like even, like they didn't look warped or slanted or like at an angle or something. And that involved transforming things and liquefying things and transforming things some more and liquefying things some more and that kind of thing. And the last thing that I want to use Photoshop to do was to just make the colours a little bit more vibrant, just a little bit, not too much. I wanted to maintain the original spirit of the illustration, but I wanted to take a couple steps to make the colours look a little bit more like the colours should have looked. So to do that I did some adjustment layers like levels, and then I also just duplicated everything and set it to multiply, so that makes it so everything just becomes like twice itself sort of. But then I kind of selectively only made that show up around the girl's hair because I felt like it was too contrasty around there. The other thing that I'm doing there is I made another duplicate and I blurred it, and so then I added an effects layer to it. I think I left that one at hard light, and I was just messing around with those sorts of settings, and I thought, I don't know, it would be nice to kind of also showcase this part of this illustration, because some people might be just a little bit curious about how to go about improving an illustration done on pencil with just some real quick Photoshop work. In total, I spent like between 10 and 15 minutes on Photoshop. It really wasn't that long to do small little alterations that would make an illustration like this a little bit more polished and complete, and something that like is just like nicer to show, sort of thing. And then just like a real quick kind of like, this looks super like against everything I've been saying about like maintaining like the original intent of the illustration by just like slapping colors. Like, what am I, if I'm going to color it digitally, why did I bother coloring it traditionally? But I'm going to like really tone down this so you barely see it, but it's there just to help differentiate areas a little bit. So right now it's at 100% opacity and it ended up being like at 30 to 40% opacity, and then I erased parts of it, so it's just a little bit more hidden and subtle, just to make it so certain areas didn't show 100% of the white of the paper behind it. And yeah, now I'm just basically saving it, export it, and then we'll look at the before and after comparisons a little bit. I was also tweaking like my before comparison so that it would line up a little bit more like exactly without transforming it too much. So just like basically cropping it into looking like how the final version looked and then I noticed that the head seemed a little bit too big. That in my liquify I ended up making the head a lot larger than the original, so that was kind of ruining the spirit. But this is about the end of the Photoshop edits. So here we have what the illustration looked like, straight, like taking a photo of it with my phone after drawing it, and then here we're slowly fading into the edits that I made really quick in Photoshop, and you can see that it's not too drastic. It still kind of looks similar. And yeah, this was basically my video of doing a quick illustration on printer paper with 3 pencils. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you all next week.